Hello, On. This is your reading for July 11th, 2019. Specifically talking about men and love reading. I'm going to do just a general past, present, future, just to show us where we were, where we are now, and where we're heading. Right now we are in a Mercury retrograde period, so there can be a lot of communication mishaps. The planet of communication, of our mind, of messages, is going backwards. So we're also revisiting a lot of the ways that we communicate with ourselves, the way we communicate with others, and so be really gentle with yourself at this time. Be very gentle with others. It can be a very frustrating time for a lot of people because it seems like things aren't going the direction that we had hoped in or as fast. And I feel like in this, I did a love reading for another person recently, and the general message was that love is not an immediate thing and that it is a process of unfolding, and we do not have to have all of the answers right now. But the important thing is that we're true with ourselves. We are honest with our emotions. We are honest with our expectations, and honesty is really important. So it's really important to be honest with yourself at this time. All right, so let's see what the cards have here. I haven't shuffled in a while, so I'm just going to do a good shuffle of the cards. Dear guides, talking to On's guides, please give us a message of love and where to go from here. It's also too, it's interesting because he kind of broke communication off several weeks ago before the retrograde. Now things are coming back around. It's definitely a time to do over things, and I've definitely seen that perhaps there is some kind of communication that will unfold, but to really take it slow, really be gentle with yourself, be gentle with yourself. Okay. Okay, so in the first card, the past, we have the Seven of Swords. The middle card, we have the King of Cups. And the future card, we have the Hermit. So, in the past, kind of where we were, 7 is the number of spiritualism. 7 is the number of cycles. There are 7 days in the week, 7 days of creation, 7 chakras in the human body. And it's very philosophical as well, and swords are thoughts, words, and actions. Swords are communication and messages, and it seems like you feel like there really was a spiritual connection that you had, and that you talked about spiritual things that perhaps you haven't really talked about much with others, or perhaps he had not opened up before. And that I'm also sensing too, you are on a huge spiritual evolution period right now, a huge transformation of yourself personally, and you have to honor that with yourself and honor that you're learning how to communicate. You are learning how to you are learning more about the spiritual realm, and that all of that is tied into everything else as well. Like what you learn about one aspect of your life is affecting all the other aspects of your life too. And you're coming into a new spiritual awareness, and it's like I'm seeing him. he's on a spiritual path as well, but right now you guys are also in different places. And you guys met, and it was this twin flame connection, but that he wasn't necessarily ready, or maybe he wasn't necessarily as receptive right now. And also honoring that he's going through his spiritual transformation as well. But really the focus is saying too, like, this is your, honor your spiritual path, honor the spiritual lessons that you're learning at this time, the people that you're coming in contact with, learning how to transmute energy, etc. And that one of the things you like about this person is your spiritual communication with this person, and to speak to him in your dreams, have that spiritual communication with him in whatever ways you can, be sending that love and light, and that trust that if this is meant to be, then it will happen, and that the universe will make it happen. But also too, it kind of was a fast, quick burning thing at first, and it's one of those things, like, sometimes we have to let things unfold slowly in their right time, because you may be ready, but he might not be ready yet. Not saying that he won't be ready in the future, but that the only thing you can do is ready yourself and be spiritually available for yourself and communicate with your guides and spirits, and ask them for guidance in this, ask them for help, ask them for intuition and understanding, because you're developing your communication with them too. They want to speak to you more, they want you to be on your highest path. And right now too, with the King of Cups as your present card, cups are about the spirit, the element of water, the dream world, and the king is the master of his realm. The king is more of the masculine energy of that too, which is about taking charge, being assertive, etc. And so here, I'm seeing in the relationship, you definitely were the more, you are a more mature person. You have had more life experience, but also even beyond that, you were always a mature person compared to your your schoolmates or others your age, because you came into this life with a spiritual mastery from your past lives, and you came into this life to master that. So this is very much related to the spiritual thoughts, words, and actions of the past, which have led you to where you are now. You are in a place where you are coming into awareness of your meditative energy, and even though you haven't heard anything yet or heard much yet, that you are really learning patience and meditating and trusting that not everything has to happen right now. You don't have to know or have all the answers right now. And you are really coming into enjoyment of yourself too, and really coming into the mastery of your own power and the mastery of what your gifts that you have to offer people, because even though you're doing a physical thing, there's a spiritual element to that, and you are really coming into that awareness of it. And the friendship too, there's a friendship with that as well, the spiritual connections you have with people, that joy, being able to work with that joy, being able to work with that transformation, and you transform other people. You have become a master of bringing out that positive light in other people, making other people feel that they are the best that they can be, the best that they can look. And there's a very spiritual element to that, and you're aware of that. You're aware of the spiritual energy there, but you are really coming into a mastery now, like a whole new level that you didn't even necessarily think was possible, and now you are coming into awareness of all that is possible and are ready to take those next steps. But with that too, also learning your own heart, learning how to become a master of your own heart, and how sometimes emotions, especially those fast burn, those, when we come into contact with a twin flame and we have that wild experience, and to then be separated from that is hard, but there's a spiritual lesson in there as well. And I definitely feel like you are coming into a meditative centeredness and a patience and an understanding that everything will have to unfold in its right time, and that all you can do is just become the best that you can be, continue to find that meditative center, and continue to master that, and listening to your spirits and guides, because they have a purpose for you as well. There is reasons why all of these things are coming in together the way that they are. So the future card, we have the Hermit. The Hermit is the number 9 in the tarot deck, and 9 is all about unconditional love, about the power. 9 is a very magical number too. It contains all of the numbers 1 through 8. It is related to all numbers, and it is all numbers. It can absorb, it's also a learning number too. A 9 can learn the lessons of all the other numbers. And with the Hermit, he is on a mountaintop alone in the woods with a staff and a lamp, and that lamp is guiding his path, and that staff is leading him, protecting him, the rod and the staff. With this card and the future card, one of the things that this indicates is that the whole reading has been like a very spiritual centered reading. Like, you are, not only is perhaps he not ready yet, but also you may not be ready yet either, and that you are really coming into that spiritual awareness of yourself, spiritual awareness of all that is around you, and that he also is in that position as well. And that really take this time by yourself to really learn about yourself and really coming into attunement with yourself, coming into attunement and honesty with who you are, what your purpose is, how you communicate, what you need, because there are things that you know now that you didn't know several months ago. And I'm also seeing too, like, it seems like you're around a lot of people all the time, but that you don't often have time for yourself, and that definitely, going to a spiritual retreat, going somewhere where you are alone, or even just having more time for yourself, or going to, there's a really cool place in LA that I still haven't been to, but it's like called the Temple of Self-Actualization. It's this really beautiful place that I think is in Pacific Palisades area. But picturing you going someplace like that, having that spiritual experience, but by being alone, by physically being alone, being comfortable with yourself, talking to your spirit guides, allowing those messages to come, because you are still on this, not everything is going to happen at once, and you kind of got a taste of what is out there, and now you need to do that alone time before you can come into contact again, because you are rapidly evolving and changing, and things are happening at such a rapid pace too. We also are in between an eclipse period, so July 3rd was the new moon solar eclipse, and then we are going to approach the full moon eclipse. That will be a partial eclipse on July 16th. So right now we're in a very important activation time, where things are changing really fast, and we have to be ready to release the old and take in the new. That doesn't mean leaving this person behind, but that means leaving our attachment to this person behind. And by worrying you're not going to make that person come back to you faster, you have to come into the self-love of yourself, in order for you to be of service or to be able to love someone else. So really coming into that personal love of yourself, really affirming yourself, really coming into that self-love and what that means for you, and really appreciating yourself, really enjoying yourself, having a good time, eating good food, and trying not to fixate on why things haven't happened yet, and instead focus on the good memories and the good memories that are to come, and visualizing that the good feelings. What made you feel good about this person? What did that person say to you that really made you feel light? What things did you share that you really appreciated sharing? Really coming into that self-actualization, that self-awareness. Because, and like I'm picturing too, like this isn't, what's happening now could be, this middle period before you guys get back together and something happens in the future. I'm not saying that is going to happen, but I'm also saying that's not going to happen. But the only thing you can do now is love yourself. Really come into awareness of who you are. Really find your fulfillment and your happiness by yourself before you can expect that from someone else, because you are the only one who's going to be able to make you happy. Someone else isn't going to make you happy. You are going to attract that person by being happy, by sharing that happiness and being side by side with someone who shares that with you, but not relying or becoming emotionally dependent on someone else for your happiness. But I definitely see the spiritual aspect. This is a spiritual experience that you're going through, and you know in your heart's heart that this was a spiritual connection. But if that's true, you have to trust that the universe is going to bring them back to you at the right time, and that you can't force that to happen faster. And what you can do now is really connecting with your spirit guides, really connecting with your ancestors, with your mother, and asking them for guidance, asking them for support, asking them for illumination on the subject, because it obviously is not necessarily eating away at you, but it's something that you think about a lot, and it can be painful as well, and it can make you feel certain ways about yourself, but you really have to be positive about yourself. You have to really affirm yourself and come into the spiritual understanding of why is this happening to me now? And your guides will give you that answer. They will speak to you and tell you why things happen the way that they do. And that accept this time as a time to come into awareness of yourself, and that when the time is right, things will begin to unfold in their perfect time, and that you have to be ready for that, and you have to make yourself ready for that, so that you can rendezvous with that person again. And that person's going through a huge spiritual transformation as well, and eventually when you do come together again, which I am rooting for and hoping for, then you are also going to be able to offer that spiritual mentorship of where you were and how you dealt with it and how you moved on, because you're finding that true 100% compassion and love of yourself first. And it seems like that person also has to do the same for them, because they're not, it seems to like everyone right now is kind of in this, because everything's shifting so fast, people don't know why it's happening. I mean, even I have the astrological understanding of what's happening, or the spiritual guidance, but even things that are happening now, for me, I'm not quite sure. But I'm allowing knowing that everything's going to fall in its right place and its right time, and that all we can do is work on ourselves, and all we can do is trust ourselves and trust that our spirit guides are there guiding us. So I hope this was helpful for you. It's always a pleasure reading for you. Thank you for reaching out. I had a wild experience. Got attacked by a dark entity that I picked up at a haunted, abandoned castle-looking place that we shot out for 12 hours. It was a wild experience, and I feel like I'm just now recovering. but I needed to go through that experience, go through my emotional and energetic low period, because now that my energy is back, I can really feel it, and I'm really wanting to make sure that I channel that energy into what makes me happy, which is tarot, which is painting. I love this new shirt that I made. I can't wait to make you a shirt. I can't wait to come out to LA. I was planning to come out to LA sooner, but I am visiting my grandma in Houston at the end of this month, so I am hoping to come to LA in early August, and I'm planning on taking a 3 to 4 week trip. I'm going to road trip and visit friends along the way, so I definitely intend on working with you and meeting you, and I hope that Jen is doing well. As Jen is also doing well. I need to reach out to her, but if you see her, please tell her that I send my love. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any more questions, feel free to text me.